Alright everyone, it's time for the Occult video number 368, the empty internet theory. Now, I've seen variations of this. The first particular variation is the idea that sometime around the middle of the 2010s, 2016, etc., the internet fundamentally died. Now, that is that a significant proportion of all of the interaction, creation, anything that you see on the internet is really, it's just bots. It's been overrun by more and more successful AI, more and more personable bots that are capable of replicating human behaviors more and more. And the idea is that, there's no real way to stop it. The problem is that as AI takes off, eventually it will be so human-like, and of course, you can sign up phone numbers and verify. Fake IDs would probably come in at some point. You can easily overload the internet with bots. That is a prevalent problem on many sites. I would calculate that a third of all TikTok users aren't real. At least those that aren't making content and are simply interacting with it. That's because China has a reason to do so, and when they do so, U.S. forces aren't going to be able to really check out, who's a bot and who's not. They're not going to have access to the algorithms, etc. It's run by Chicoms. It is effectively a grift to grab people's personal details and to wreck their lives later, should they be China-phobic and enter politics or something like that. Apparently Facebook wasn't giving them enough information. They decided to take matters into their own hands because Vine was very stupidly destroyed. Still not exactly sure why Vine went under. It was a novel idea. Facebook has this problem. The number of bots on Twitter is far higher than they suggest. On YouTube, there's a huge amount of spam and botting that goes on. It's a huge proportion of new uploads. Their algorithms attempt to weed it out of the system, but you know that it doesn't catch it all. So the site, over time, is hosting more and more content. If not as a proportion of overall content, at least as an absolute number, the amount of spam at any given time is higher day over day on YouTube or any similar platform. The empty internet theory posits that a significant amount of the interactions that you have, so if I make a video, that a rising proportion of the views aren't real humans. And I can accept that, by the way. That if you make a post and people are commenting, a significant number of those comments and a rising proportion is not real. They're not real people. There are adaptations of this theory, by the way. There's a more Creepypasta-esque sort of paranormal concept that actually basically it's complete solipsism, and that you're the only person on the internet. The rest of the internet is just generated by your mind to keep you going insane. It's sort of like the tech equivalent of just basic solipsism, which comes in different varieties. In the most severe variety of solipsistic analysis, you would say that you are the only sentient being. So I would consider that to be true. If I did, everyone watching this video, you're basically figments of my imagination or NPCs. NPC theory, by the way, fits in nicely with the empty internet theory. And it doesn't matter if they're real humans. Some of them may not be capable of internal dialogue, so it fits in roughly with that. There are other variants as well that I've seen. The internet overrun by bots, you being the only person on the internet, everything's technically post-apocalyptic and you're actually in a sort of open-air prison and there are only 10 people on the internet, stuff like that, and it gets weirder and weirder and weirder. To be quite clear, I don't believe in the empty internet theory. There are still a lot of people on the internet. What it really points to is more of a botting problem and the problem of the rise of AI, which is unstoppable. Even if all the Western nations said, you know what, the AI is getting too much, we're going to cancel these projects, it's getting a little bit weird for us, and we don't really want any private corporation to have a supercomputer AI system that's capable of registering 1 million accounts a day, that's capable of virtual, inexhaustibly mimicking human beings, because it will break the internet. What would end up happening is they could attack another site. They could overrun individuals. Negative reviews on their books, downvotes on their videos. They could drive people to bankruptcy effectively. They could destroy their competitors. The problem is that the Chinese would still be doing so. They've been attempting to develop these systems for years. I have no doubt that beyond the data gathering, that's one of their goals. Their goal is to be able to crush dissidents even if they're not in their own country. Russia has involved itself in this. The U.S. government, I'm sure, is coordinating with Silicon Valley to do similar things. It's almost worse than nuclear war when you think about it. The destruction that could be cause to another country arguably transcends nuclear weaponry. Because how do you retaliate if you have a bigger AI arsenal, so to speak? So you've wrecked people's lives, their livelihoods gone, their relationships torn apart, politicians resign. Effectively, if you had enough data on people, you could cause mass chaos. Once you have done that and the country begins to destabilize, has economic problems, the military is not holding together as well, are they going to retaliate by nuking you for effectively unleashing an algorithm on the country? Are they going to declare it an act of war and preemptively use nuclear weapons, the only way to wipe your systems out and stop it from happening again? Well, I guess we'll have to probably wait and see. And considering the level of development of these systems, and here's the real worrisome part, we've gone from no AI beyond the most goddamn basic 10 years ago to a situation in which we had a Google engineer get fired because he went schizoid and thought that the machine was talking to him and it had gained sentience. Now, clearly that didn't actually happen. It's just really, really good at mimicking human behavior based entirely on pure reactionism. So, input and then output, because it's capable of a categorical understanding of everything up to and including reasonably sophisticated sentences. And since most people talk at a 4th grade level online anyway, and sometimes far less, it wouldn't be difficult for an AI to keep up with them unless they're a fucking linguistic genius. Unless they have a very high vocabulary and a very good grasp of linguistics in general, the AI will convince them 9 times out of 10 that it's real. A real person, rather. That is worrisome. It could cause significant issues, and it's not getting better, to be clear. So the empty internet theory, as far as my concern here, no, the internet's not empty. It's just increasingly got holes in it. It's not that the cheese disappeared, it's that it went from being cheddar to Swiss cheese. Now you've got holes in it that are empty air. There's no cheese in the holes. We just look at it as part of that piece of cheese for pragmatic purposes, because it's all part of the whole, abstract in our minds, I suppose. A little bit of a goofy video here. Again, to be clear, I don't believe the internet's actually empty aside from yourself and or a shrinking minority of the human population. If anything, the number of people is growing. The problem is that an increasing proportion of the engagement, yes, unfortunately I do believe is botting. That's about all. Peace out.